Greetings, my name is Alex Kraus and I'll be moderating this Warbirds of America safety video. We want everyone to have a wonderful experience here at Warbirds, and that starts with an accident-free visit. To accomplish this mission, we're going to identify for you some of the key hazards that you'll come across here at Warbirds and beyond. After you watch this video, you should be able to conduct yourself like a seasoned pro and hopefully prevent an accident. Three experts will present three segments in our accident video. Now, these people did not become accident experts by accident. Well, actually, that's exactly how they became accident specialists. Our first presenter, Shuffle Von Tripp, he's going to go over the do's, don'ts, and hazards specific to the Warbirds Tram Tour. Sergeant Van Tripp, break a leg, or break a leg, okay.
Achtung, you will pay attention. First of all, you need assistance. Don't be shy, ask any of our staff. We have a lot of staffers hanging around like a construction site, so just ask. Mind your noggin when you get on and off the tram so you don't bump your head on the side of the roof canopy. And watch your footing as you step on and off the tram. Do not sit on any stranger's lap, or anyone's lap for that matter, while you're on the tram. There are no potty stops. Plan accordingly. It is a 45-minute tour. Don't stand up unless the tram is completely stopped, and at the end of the tour, when it's time to go into the gift shop or the membership shop. In the event of an emergency, turn toward the narrator and wave your hand at him to get his attention. He will then stop the tram and take care of your needs. Do not spit out of the tram unless you check the wind first. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the tram. On a sharp corner, it's okay to clutch the person next to you. Last year, we lost a grandma on a very tight curve. There is a site map on your Warbird gift bag that shows all 12 zones of the Warbird complex. So you can follow the course of the tour and note places you may return later. Once again, the narrator will announce when it is time to disembark the tram and to which side. Remember, gentlemen, membership on the left, ladies, gift shop on the right. And whatever you do not forget to buckle your seatbelt after you board the tram. Thank you for your attention.
Our second accident specialist, Lieutenant Leroy Laceration, will go over some more advanced safety topics here at Warbirds and beyond. Come on over, Lieutenant. Any day now.
Thank you very much, Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me in this second segment. I would like to discuss a particularly insidious hazard as you explore throughout the amazing area of our Warbirds compound. There is a particular hazard I want you to keep an eye out for. It is the diabolical and dreadful pitot tube. This is a device that bristles out the front of the wingtip to capture air pressure to power the airspeed indicator. I can tell you from personal experience, these devices do not work well at all when they are plugged with skin or clogged with ocular debris. So by all means, keep both eyes wide open and do not walk or run into one of these diabolical devices. The next thing I'd like to do is take your attention and focus it on the lower half of your anatomy, your feet. Know where your feet are and are going at all times. This is called, in pilot speak, situational awareness. Now you ask me why? I'm just going to mention a few of the hazards, but one of them that is really easy to get tripped up on, no pun intended, are the cables that are anchored to the ground that serve as bases when the pilots tie their aircraft down to prevent them from moving in high winds. These cables make a perfect arresting cable for your foot. And unless you want your foot to act like a tail hook, it is wise to be looking at the ground as you walk around, or you'll end up on a pair of these just like I did. I want to talk to you about prop wash. Prop wash. Prop wash is not a high-strength detergent used to clean propellers. It is the gale force blast of wind that comes from behind a moving propeller on most of these warbird aircraft. Now, what people don't realize and anticipate, especially if they're novices to the warbird campground, don't go to the campground, warbird compound, is that if you're behind these aircraft as they try to taxi out of a soft anchor point where they sat overnight, there's going to be a windstorm of sand, dust, grit, dirt, and debris blowing behind that aircraft everywhere. Be smart. Turn your head, hold your hat, and by all means, turn your children's heads around so their faces don't get sandblasted. And you know what? Give the guy next to you a jab in the ribs because he's never seen this before and he's standing there with his eyes wide open. We don't want him to spend half the day putting in eye drops trying to get all the sand and dirt out of his eye. Now, one thing that I did notice as I looked at the people that are gathering for the next tour, we have some very attractive women on this upcoming tour. And ladies, I have a couple of very specific warnings just for you gals. Number one, do not accept an aircraft ride from any stranger, particularly if that stranger is wearing a Navy uniform. Secondly, and this is a big one, and fight the feeling, but if you get invited to one of these evening, nighttime, warbird volunteer campground parties, please deny the invite. Do not go. The EAA security won't even go there after dark themselves. So you girls have been warned. Don't do that. Now we've got a couple of other little quickies we can mention here. Legal sent down a recent directive to me. They wanted me to make sure you people realize, do not tip the tram drivers. Do not tip the tram drivers. This could easily be a parole violation. So don't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, on the serious side, when you see the marshals on the flight line, these are the fellas with the gaudy orange vests, and it might say Flight Line Volunteer on the back, and they're scurrying from plane to plane or whatever. If they give you a directive, ask you to do something, wave a baton at you, or pay attention to these folks. They are going to keep you safe and keep you from getting hurt. They've been doing this for 20 years. The other thing, we got a lot of water in the headquarter tent. Hydrate yourself whenever you can. The water is absolutely free of charge. We do recommend a $27 donation, but after all, it is an 8-ounce bottle. I'm just joking about it. It's totally free, really. Gift shop warning for the men. Check those credit cards and make sure them limits on your cards are 8, 9, 10 grand before the ladies get in the gift shop, because we don't want to have them have to curtail their shopping prematurely. Last thing, seat belts. I know Willie got real excited, Sergeant Von Tripp, and he told you to buckle those seat belts. There ain't any seat belts on these trams. You got to do the clutching thing if you think you're going to tip over. Listen, have a lot of fun. Be aware. Hopefully you recall some of what we talked about today, particularly what Gillian talked to you about. Pass it along if you get a chance. Have a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to now introduce the gentleman that's going to take you through the third segment of this safety briefing video, Mr. Tim Gillian. Tim Gillian is a lead and wing qualified formation pilot. He's done many air shows all over the United States and a lot of Oshkosh shows as well. I've had the pleasure of flying with Tim probably well over a decade. You're looking at a gentleman that is an SNJ formation pilot extraordinaire. I want to introduce now the fellow that's going to take you through the third, final, and frankly, quite serious portion of our safety briefing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tim Gillian. Tim?
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Take it away, Cap.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EAA, and most especially Warbirds of America. There's a reason Lieutenant Laceration is standing on the ground talking about flying rather than in the air talking about being on the ground. And it's simply because he could never obey a couple of very simple rules. So strictly for Lieutenant Laceration, we've come up with a really simple memory aid for Lieutenant Laceration and for all the people here at Oshkosh. Think of the letters in the word stop. And the first word or the letter we're going to talk about is the S. That means smoking. Every place in the airport grounds, smoking is prohibited. When you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, these airplanes are more than 70 years old. And while they're kept in extremely pristine conditions, and they're fawned over on a daily basis, they all hold more than 100 gallons of fuel. And it's 100 low lead, which is extremely flammable. An open flame, a spark, a cigarette ash, anything could cause a major disaster. So please, remember, no smoking any place on the airport grounds. This is so important that if you see somebody smoking, I want you to tell them to stop. If you're uncomfortable with that, ask a crew member, ask somebody in an orange shirt to make sure they stop because it's extremely dangerous. Let's think about the T. That means touching. And around these magnificent airplanes, no touching. We encourage you at Warbirds of America to get up close and personal with these airplanes. Try to put yourself in the cockpit and relive the history, but do it without touching the airplanes. There are many things hanging off the airplane that are sort of saying, touch me. Probably the most common is the pitot tube, and it's because it extends from the wing as much as 2 feet. And frankly, it looks like a chin-up bar. But ladies and gentlemen, it's merely an instrument that we use to help us determine airspeed while we're flying. Please, there's hoses, there's tubes, there's the pitot tube that cannot be touched. Imagine what a hand in the wrong spot, a camera, an umbrella, a chair, anything could do to damage one of these magnificent machines. So please, be careful in and around the airplanes and don't touch them. The O stands for observant. Did you know that a pilot sitting in the cockpit cannot see in front of the airplane? That's why when the marshalers ask you to stand back, they want you to the sides. Keep in mind that if you can't see and make eye contact with the pilot, he can't see you. So if you're walking in front and not paying attention, that pilot cannot see where you are. So please, listen and look and make sure that you are obeying the orders of the marshalers. They're there for your safety. We just want to keep you out of harm's way. The P stands for propeller. A very simple electrical malfunction could cause this engine to roar to life with just a minor pull on the prop. And while it may look inviting, sitting right at that right angle to give it just a little bit of a tug, please never touch a prop. Now you might be confused because you may see a pilot or a crew member literally pulling the prop through. Well, keep in mind that the pilot has checked all the switches in the cockpit, and whether it looks like it or not, in the back of his mind, he's thinking that that engine could come to life at any moment. And he is in fact standing outside of the propeller arc. So while it may look inviting, please do not touch the propeller. Those 4 will keep you pretty safe. But I got 1 or 2 other things I want to talk to you about. These pilots want to tell you how cool they are. And they want to tell you how gorgeous their airplanes are. They're willing to sit and talk to you. Matter of fact, you'll probably have to walk away or they'll keep you the rest of the day. They want to sign autographs. But there are times during the day when they're getting ready for an air show, they're getting ready to brief, they're briefing with other pilots, that they need to be in their own space, in their own zone. Don't be offended if they don't want to talk to you. They're merely getting themselves ready for a flight. When they come back, believe me, they'll talk to you and they'll explain how they were the best plane in the formation, the best looking pilot. They'll tell you all of that stuff, but they need to have their time when they need it. Our goal here at Oshkosh, and especially Warbirds of America, is so that you can get up as close as you want to these airplanes. You can see them roar to life. You can see them taxi by, and you can have a pilot wave at you. But all that comes with some responsibility. Obey the STOP, and you're going to have a great time at Oshkosh, and you're going to be a friend of the pilots here forever. Thank you, and enjoy your day at Oshkosh.